In this lecture, you're going to see the read committed isolation level in action. So you saw the problem with dirty reads in the last lecture. Now we're going to change this isolation level to read committed. So read committed. With this isolation level, we can only read committed data. So we're not going to have dirty reads. Now, before executing any of these scripts, let's double check what we have in the customers table. So I'm going to refresh the result. Customer number 1 has 2,000 points. All right, now back to the first session. Let's execute line 2 to set the isolation level. All right, now back to the second session. Once again, we're going to start a new transaction. We're going to update the customer's points to 20, but we haven't committed anything yet. So if we go back to the first session and read the points, we should not see that uncommitted data. Take a look. Select points. We have 2,293. Now back to the second session. If this transaction is committed, let's commit it. Now our customer has 20 points. So we go to the first session, read the points again, and now we have 20 points. Beautiful. So at this isolation level, we don't have dirty reads, but we have another problem. We have unrepeatable reads. So it is possible that during a transaction, we read something twice, but we get different values each time. Let me show you. So here we're going to start a transaction because we're going to have 2 select statements. So start transaction. Here's our first select statement. I'm going to copy paste this one more time and then commit. Now for clarity, I'm going to compress this select statement into one line like this. So we have 2 select statements. That's better. All right, now once again, we need to execute line 2 to set the isolation level because this only applies to the next transaction. We already had a transaction with this isolation level. So this new transaction is not going to have the same isolation level. It's going to have the default isolation level, which is repeatable read. So let's execute line 2. All right, now we start a transaction. We read the points. There you go. We have 20 points. Now, before we execute the next line, we're going to go to the second session and update the points to, let's say, 30. So here we're going to start a new transaction, update the points, and then commit. Now, if you go back to the first session and read the points again, we get a different value. So at this isolation level, we have non-repeatable or inconsistent reads. To solve this problem, we need to increase the isolation level for this transaction, and that's what I'm going to show you next.